Hey guys, how's your boy MKS back with part two of this quirky idea I have called MOP, M.O.P. I hope you're well wherever you are, and as ever, I'd love to hear what you think. Hope you enjoyed this video and it's not cringeworthy, and I hope the last one wasn't too cringeworthy. I think I sort of fumbled on my words, I got a bit nervous, but anyway. Try not to be too long-winded, or long-winded, however you pronounce it in the intro. But yeah, so here are some of my ideas. As I say, in part one, I covered ideas 1 to 10. So please check that out if you haven't already done so. Sorry, and I hope you'll enjoy this one. So here goes. So number 11. I think it'd be great to change the perception of Africa through tech. As I often mentioned in the past, like Nigeria has a negative reputation for being full of scam artists or things like Somalia has negative reputations negative reputation for being like pirates or things like that. So I think it'd be great to see them working together, different African countries like Somalia, Nigeria, Kenya, and all 54 or 55 countries across Africa to actually say that, hey, we're going to cut crime, we're going to build software and disk operating systems and things like that, which make things better, which I think would be quite an irony or a great turnaround, and it'd be quite ironic if someone like me came up with the idea, because I'm pretty much a tech phobe. I can type quite quick, but that's about it. Other than that, I'm not very good at tech, so I think it'd be ironic if I came up with this idea, but I do have an imagination. And on that note, actually, I nearly forgot to say, but I think it'd be great if neurodiverse people like dyslexics, people with ADHD and dyspraxia and autism, I actually, as far as I'm aware, have dyslexia and dyspraxia, although I did have extra help at school, so I learned to spell. But I think it'd be great for Africans to learn about that. Maybe some people from Africa could make games to teach people about that. So I think it'd be great to see Africa going to be empowered from going as seen as like backwards or negative or not doing very well to being like the leaders in tech, which is one of my main dreams in life, and also to help it to do so, and also being part of that would be great. But also, like I'll say, it'd be great if people from across Africa, some of the people who I know, and perhaps others as well, would work to raise awareness of disabilities, physical, mental, and cerebral learning disabilities like dyslexia, ADHD, and things like that, dyspraxia and autism. If they not only found out about such things themselves, but actually were even educating people in the West about such conditions and showing what they could do. Like IBM and Microsoft and others, I think, have tech programs for people with autism, possibly dyslexia, and things like that. So I think it'd be great if African countries did that as well, like had programs for, and those companies, those big tech companies, maybe even Oracle and others, had their own programs for training autistic, dyslexic, dyspraxic, and even ADHD people across Africa, and maybe even indigenous people with ADHD, if there are such, in Australasia as well, to make games and all sorts of things like that, and to work on tech on such operating systems and software and things like that. Again, changing the perception of disability as well as changing the perception of Africa as well. 12. I think it'd be great if there were mentors that could teach, and if the 1 billion, I think I forgot to mention in part one, if the 1 billion or so, I think it's actually more than 1 billion, but I think it's 1.4 billion in fact. But if the approximately 1 billion or more people, even 1.4 billion or whatever people worked on this, it'd be pretty amazing. The only area I probably wouldn't want to help in Africa is like any areas where they're like divided, like Orania in South Africa, which is a white only state or something like that, and like Afrikaners or Boers who don't want to integrate with the indigenous people. They're the only place that probably I wouldn't want to support. But mainly, our main focus would be supporting indigenous people in those countries. Also people of colour generally, but especially indigenous or black people from those countries as well as Australasia. But I suppose they could work together with people who want to integrate with them, like Asian, mixed race, or even white people who want to integrate with them. But also people can mentor them from companies like Microsoft and IBM in the West. They could go to parts of Africa, or at least teach online, or maybe even travel to those countries and teach people, hopefully, and work together on this software development. And disk operating systems and things like that. Number 13, I hope to look into some of the problems we might face, like, for instance, my ideas and communication. How do I communicate those ideas and be patient enough to wait for them to happen? Like, I always want things to be done like yesterday or straight away, so to speak, and things to just happen. But obviously, things take time and you have to work on them. I know I'm not a hard-working person, but I do have a lot of ideas. So I'd like to make videos like this and hope that someone who's perhaps more hardworking or just generally able to better put them into practice will actually take action on the ideas as well. Number 14, on that note again, I'd love for projects like this to solve problems, Africans to solve their own problems, and to solve the rest of the world's problems even, which again I think would be quite ironic. Number 15, again, I think it'd be great if as many of the billion or so Africans and also their governments, politicians and people like that talked about how they're going to unify each other, like African politicians talking about how they're going to unify their countries, bring people together, tackle violence and corruption, and again, helping to use online systems to do so, tackle crime and poverty and things like that, and again, using tech could help, and just work together towards shared goals of Africa's prosperity, and knowing, and I think learning that by being united and working towards the future, they can help each other, which they have like a shared future. They're on the same boat, so to speak, and they can make their countries proud, after empires and things like that, with their independence and things like that. Number 16, I think it'd be great if Indigenous Africans and Australasians had like committees or think tanks, and again, networked with others and brought all tech companies together and all people from those backgrounds together to look at ways to benefit Indigenous Africans and Australians and help them to have the training and opportunities to help them be as successful as possible in tech. Again, I think it'd be quite ironic if, and it would also be like, there's two fingers to all the racists who see Africa as like backwards or unable to do things, if they came together to make this tech work. Number 17, it's hard to imagine, but I think it'd be pretty awesome, using my imagination, to see as many Africans, again, preferably all of the 1 billion or so, or certainly as many of them as possible, working together on these projects, again, with Indigenous Australasians and the Black diaspora around the world, and even people of colour and allies and big tech companies working together towards shared goals. And again, like Italian football and Celtic, as well as like music and movie industries and other industries, like fundraising in all possible ways, like using all possible ways to fundraise to help provide opportunities to learn about tech for Indigenous Africans and Australasians. Number 18, I think, again, it would be part of Tech for Good. It would be pretty cool to see Africa lead the way in tech, and again, to help Indigenous Australasians to have opportunities to learn about tech, as well as as well as STEM generally, and to network together and collaborate and things like that, whatever the difference is between those two. Number 19, again, it'd be great to see more Indigenous Africans and Australasians in software development generally, and number 20, also in STEM generally. And also, I think it'd be great if the elders taught the youngest what they know. And also, I suppose, in technology, a lot of young people probably know a lot more than the older people. So it's actually one area where it might be the only area, or certainly one of the few areas where the young people can actually teach the elders, which would be pretty cool. Anyway, I am out. Peace and love.